Alright, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to something a little bit different. So as most of you guys know, my videos are usually recorded live, but today I'm throwing it back to my Call of Duty days and doing a bit of a commentary here, because this video is going to be sort of a Q&A special. A lot of people have been asking me to do one of these for a while, and since we're getting pretty close to 100,000 subs, I figured it'd be a fun change of pace. Also, there's a lot of questions I seem to get pretty frequently in the comments section and on my streams, so I also figured this would be a good chance to get some of those answered in a way where everyone can see it. If it seems like enough people enjoy this video, I may consider doing another one soon, so if you want more content like this, make sure you like the video and drop a comment down below with any other questions you want answered. So yeah, I got some nightreign gameplay going in the back for you guys, and a list of frequently asked questions and such. Sit back, relax, and hopefully enjoy me yapping for a bit. Also, fair warning, these are in no particular order, so sorry if this kind of gets all over the place. So kicking things off here with question 1, which is actually a couple questions, but since the answer is related to all of them, I figured I'd sort of combine them here. The question is, where did I get my username? What does it mean? And what are you guys supposed to call me? Proz? Kryptix? Some other random thing people want to make up? Well, the username itself actually came from back in the Xbox 360 days when I was trying to come up with a gamer tag. For anyone who wasn't on Xbox Live back in the day, or maybe was on a different system, you couldn't have the same gamer tag as another person, which a lot of the time resulted in people having names with like a bunch of random numbers at the end, or putting like a bunch of XXIs and other random symbols in front of their name that kind of just looked silly to me. And believe it or not, even back then, I had aspirations of being a YouTuber, so I wanted a gamer tag that was kind of individual and unique to me, because I felt like all the really successful gaming YouTubers had one. I ended up settling on the name Kryptix because at the time I was doing this, Skrillex was like the biggest thing in music. He just won a Grammy. Scary Monsters and Nice Sprites was literally everywhere. You couldn't get away from that fucking song. And I'm not like the world's biggest Skrillex fan or anything like that, but I always thought his name sounded kind of cool. So Kryptix ended up being the gamer tag. And as far as the Proz part of it, it's nothing really special. It just happened to be the Call of Duty clan I was playing in at the time. And once again, for those of you who either weren't playing back then or don't remember, for whatever reason you had to pay actual money, I think it was like 10 bucks or something, to change your gamer tag on Xbox Live. So even years and years after I stopped playing with that particular group of guys, the Proz part of my name stayed because I wasn't going to pay to change it. So yeah, Proz Kryptix ended up being the gamer tag, and I started just using it so many places it basically became what I go by. Now, as far as what you guys are supposed to call me, most of the time I go by Kryptix. It's what my friends online call me. It's what I usually refer to myself as when I'm talking like YouTube or online persona or anything like that. I don't necessarily mind if people call me Proz. It's not like I hate it or anything, but I do think it's kind of funny because since Proz is technically a team name, calling me that is almost like walking up to LeBron James and being like, hey, what's going on, Laker? I don't know, it's just silly to me. Anyway, I think that should about sum that whole subject up. Moving on to question number 2, is Elden Ring my favorite game? And if not, what is my favorite game? So believe it or not, Elden Ring is actually not my favorite game. Don't get me wrong, it's definitely one of my favorite games, and I do think it is one of the best games ever made. But that being said, no, it is not my favorite game of all time. That title currently goes to Persona 5, which, yes, I understand it's kind of like a stereotyped answer at this point, and before the Persona fans get mad at me in the comments, yes, I played the other games before I played Persona 5. I started playing the series way back with Fess in like 2008 or something like that, so I did have a bit of a pedigree with the series before getting to Persona 5, but I don't know, man, something about the game just stuck with me. I've played through it multiple times. It's almost always at the top of my list whenever somebody asks for game recommendations. So yeah, favorite games Persona 5, not really going to give you a whole review of the game here or anything like that, just, I don't know, I like it a lot. Moving on to question number 3, still sort of in the Elden Ring sphere. What is my favorite boss, least favorite boss, and favorite weapon in Elden Ring? So I've said this about a bazillion times, my favorite boss in Elden Ring by far is Malenia. I love the challenge, I love the flow of the fight, I like how it feels more like a duel rather than, you know, you fighting some sort of giant monster or, you know, crazed godlike creature. It's just you and a really powerful opponent locked in a 1v1 until you finally figure it out. As far as my least favorite boss in Elden Ring, obviously it's Mohg. Okay, I gotta be honest, I'm really just kidding. Don't get me wrong, I don't like Mohg. He's never gonna be my most favorite boss in all of Elden Ring or anything like that, but I will say, as the years have gone by, he's definitely started to grow on me a little bit. Probably because I've forced myself to fight him with terrible, terrible builds so often. But realistically, at this point, I'd say the bosses I really hate seeing anytime I'm doing some sort of challenge playthrough or anything are Fire Giant and Malekith. And honestly, Gideon's been getting on my nerves recently for some reason. So yeah, I'd say those about sum up my least favorite bosses as far as the base game is concerned. And I guess you gotta throw Consort Radahn in there, because honestly, I don't know, I really don't get the glaze. I get it's epic, I get he's difficult, but I really just don't think it's a well-designed fight. Now, as far as my favorite weapon in Elden Ring, honestly, it's kind of a tough one to answer, but I think at this point, it's still Hand of Melania. Not only does the weapon look cool, but it's also got a sick weapon art, because you get to copy Waterfowl Dance. But it's also kind of like a reward, you know? Like, you conquered the game's most difficult enemy and took her weapon as a trophy. I don't know, something about that just feels kind of badass. And as far as my favorite build with it goes, I really like power stancing it with the Nagakiba. You guys saw me use this build pretty extensively back in my Let's Play of Shadow of the Erdtree. Again, I think running around with two just oversized katanas is simultaneously really intimidating and also really silly. It's not necessarily the best build in Elden Ring, although it is quite strong, but more than anything, I like it for the look factor. Oh, and of course, honorable mention to Starfist. I know people have been commenting about me using Starfist in all these challenge runs and stuff. I don't know what to say, man. It's the best weapon in the game. Like, by far. It's not even close. So, I honestly don't know if it's so much that I like it as it is just, the thing is so freaking powerful, it's just that much fun to use. Anyway, moving away from gaming stuff a little bit. Question number 4, do you watch anime, and what are your favorites? So, yes, I do watch anime. I've actually watched a, quite frankly, disgusting amount of anime in my life. In fact, I was just thinking about this the other day. Next year, I believe I will have been watching anime for 20 years. At some point there in the year. I think I started in 2006. So yeah, I have a massive library of anime watched. I've watched so much anime that sometimes people will ask me if I've seen something and I'll say no, and then I'll watch one episode of it and remember I actually did watch it, I just forgot about it. Now, as far as my favorites go, it honestly depends on the genre. I like different anime for different reasons, and I obviously watch different genres for different reasons. So I'm just gonna go down a quick list of some of the more popularly watched genres and give you my favorites in each of those. I'm not gonna give you a review or a reason why or anything. This is literally just a list. So as far as shonen goes, my favorite is Bleach. For sports anime, my favorite is Ace of Diamond. For seinen anime, my favorite is From the New World. Although if we're talking anime and manga, my favorite seinen manga is actually something called Murcielago. But to be honest, that's probably never getting an anime. For my favorite rom-com, it's Love is Hard for Otaku. Although once again, if we're talking anime and manga, it's actually My Monster Secret. But My Monster Secret's anime is not very good. I honestly wouldn't really recommend anybody watch it. If you're interested in that sort of thing, go read the manga. It's way better. For Slice of Life, my favorite is School Rumble. And for my favorite mecha anime, it's Genesis of Aquarion. I think that should about sum up a lot of the big ones. This list will change depending on what I've watched recently or what's like on my mind recently. But that being said, I'm always down to talk about anime. So if you want to hear more of my thoughts on any of these anime or any other anime that I maybe haven't mentioned here, definitely let me know down in the comments. Anyway, moving on to question number 5, and this is what I get a lot. What happened to this series, or why haven't you continued that series? Where's the DLC for the Gunnar run? Why haven't you continued the Frenzied Flame run? And the answer to this one is kind of tough, but I really think it just needs to be said. So when it comes to the content that I want to commit to making on this channel, whether it's videos, challenges, series, whatever, I have to consider a balance between the amount of time it will take to make, the amount of fun I'm going to have doing it, and the number of people that are going to be interested in the video in question. I think maybe more than a few people don't know this, but believe it or not, YouTube is not my full-time job. I actually have a full-time day job, like 9 to 5 in an office. I'm not here working on YouTube all day long. And on top of that, I do all of this myself. I edit everything myself. I do all my thumbnails myself. Uploading, channel management, playlists, social media, everything is just me. I don't have anybody else working with me, with the notable exception of the very talented artists who worked on my character. Now, the reason I'm pointing all of that out is I can't be Scumnut. I can't be Bushy. I can't sit here and spend 40 hours on a challenge run, especially if I'm really not enjoying it, trying to bang my head against something just for the sake of getting a video out. For one thing, I just don't have the time to do that. I would have to sacrifice like all the other content on my channel just to do that. And on top of that, if I don't find something fun, I find it really hard to make the video interesting. Because don't get me wrong, I will do a time-consuming video if I think it's fun and I know a lot of people are interested in it. A great example is the Elon Musk run. That shit took me forever because it was so hard, but I had a blast recording it and people really seemed to like those videos, so that sort of made it worth it for me to take the extra time to get that done. But when it comes to the Gunnar run and the Frenzied Flame run, believe it or not, I did take both of those builds into the DLC and give it a shot, and honestly, after a couple bosses, I was just like, this is not working and it's taken way too long. I have different things I want to be keeping up with. You guys are expecting more videos from me. I can't in good conscience just sit here and face tank a run that I'm not even enjoying just for the sake of views, because the one thing I will never do on this channel is a video that is just for views. Don't get me wrong, I will do and have done videos in the past because I think they'll get views, but I'm not going to do a video that is not fun to work on and is going to take me a bazillion years just because I think it might get some views. The whole point of this channel is to play games that I like or play them in ways that that I think are interesting, and then share that with you guys. And doing a run that honestly just ends up being boring by the end, just for the sake of a couple views, sort of defeats the purpose. Also, just to get this out there, because I'm not sure how much I've really talked about it, I don't really consider myself an Elden Ring YouTuber. Now, I know a lot of you guys just watch me for Elden Ring, and that's fine. I'm glad to have you around. I'm not like annoyed that Elden Ring is my best performing game or anything like that, but I don't consider myself an Elden Ring YouTuber in the way that a lot of other Souls-like creators are. I wouldn't really consider myself an expert on the game. I'm certainly not better at it than a lot of them, and I'm not really trying to be. I like playing other games. I like doing variety. Even if it has been a lot of Souls-like stuff on the channel recently, there are other games I do want to play, and I am going to be sort of trying to incorporate more as time goes on. Anyway, I realize that answer kind of meandered a little bit. Hopefully that sort of answered the question. So in case you're wondering where the Gunnar run is or the Frenzied Flame run is, honestly, the DLC just ended up being more time consuming than it was worth. I wasn't really having any fun, and I'm not just going to sit there and force myself to finish the run just for views. Anyway, kind of in the vein of that question, or at least part of how I answer that question, a lot of people do ask, do I still have a job? And if I'm going to quit my job for YouTube? So the answer, like I said, is yes, I do still have a day job, kind of against my better wishes. Not to like flex my bag or anything, but YouTube has been very good to me, especially recently. And obviously it's all thanks to you guys. I mean, it's because you guys are watching the videos, you're leaving likes, some of you guys even donate to the channel, which I am super grateful for. But honestly, not to get too real here, because this is still a gaming channel, but given like the state of the world and the economy and all these other things, I don't really think it's a good idea for me to quit my job for a YouTube channel that's kind of, at least at the moment, dependent on one particular game for its revenue. Because going back to me not necessarily considering myself an Elden Ring YouTuber, the thing I want to avoid the most with this channel is feeling forced to play that game. Part of why I'm able to do so many entertaining Elden Ring runs for you guys, and I even have more ideas going forward, is because I don't have to play it. There are other games I can play, like Lies of P and Wu Chang, and I still need to go back and finish Khazan. Sorry about that, by the way. And I want to play some other games. I want to get back to Baldur's Gate. I want to do Pokemon. I want to do all these other things. And part of the freedom that allows me to do that is not being financially dependent on this channel. The extra money is great. You guys have honestly kind of turned my life around. For those of you who haven't been around on the streams, I'm moving into a much nicer apartment in a much better area in like a week or two. And literally the only reason that that's possible is because of you guys. But at the same time, I don't want to necessarily be tied to this channel just yet. We're almost there. We're getting there. I feel like I'm right on the cusp of being able to do this, but I just need like one more little push and then I can finally go full send with this. Moving on to question number 7, and this is another one out of left field. Are you still going to be a VTuber, or are you still going to get a VTuber model? So whenever I talk about this, I always get a bunch of people in the comments asking what is a VTuber. Honestly, just Google it. I'm not really the best person to explain that. But as far as what's happening with that, it's kind of on hold. I have actually a very clear vision of what I want and how I want to incorporate it into my videos. I just need to find the right artist and model rigger to do it. Because the thing is, I'm sort of a victim here of the channel growing so quickly, because we have grown really quickly, where typically when people start out VTubing, they sort of, well, not all of them do this, but the general advice is, you know, don't go blow a bunch of money on something super fancy right away. Start simple and then build it up. But the thing is, I feel like I can't really do that. First of all, like I said, I have a very distinct vision of what I want, and also, I feel like the channel is big enough at this point, and you guys expect a level of quality from me, that putting out something that's sort of half-assed just because it's what I could get is gonna be more detrimental than anything else. Like, I'd rather not do it than do something that I probably won't be happy with, and I'm not really sure you guys would be either. Don't get me wrong, I definitely still want to do this. I really feel like VTubing could be a big part of this channel. Like I said, I have a lot of really creative ways I think I could use it in my videos, but I'm not gonna pull the trigger on that unless I find a situation that is perfect, because at this point, I don't think I can settle for anything less. So hopefully that clears that up. I'd like to think that's still coming, but we'll see how long that takes. I'm not like putting a timetable on it or anything. Moving on to question 8, and believe it or not, I actually get this less than you would think, but I still do get it, so I figure it's worth talking about, is will you collab with me? Will you put me in your videos, or will you do a video with me? Meaning for content, not just like, will you play games with your subscribers? This is like specifically content related. And honestly, man, I'm kind of torn on this one because, you know, on one hand, I definitely understand what it's like being that small content creator that gets ignored by literally everybody just for their numbers. And to be clear, I don't, you know, ignore collabs for people's numbers or anything like that. But at the same time, man, I don't know, collabs are something that are just weird for me to try to figure out at this point. Probably because I've done so few. But like between scheduling and like making sure people's vibes check out, and you know, you always run into people who are just trying to collab for clout. Like, I'm sure at least somebody who's asked me to collab just, you know, saw the number next to the username and was like, yes, this'll do. Not saying that that's everybody or even the majority, but it is something that happens. But yeah, I don't know, collabs aren't really something that I like actively go out of my way to do. Like, case in point, just the other day, I uploaded my first collab video in years, and the only reason I did that collab was because it was with somebody who I've known personally for a decent amount of time now, and have been following his content for much longer. So in that case, I feel like I understand the vibe there, right? But on the other hand, like, sometimes I'll see people in the comments or in stream or whatever, like, oh, would you want to do a video with me? Like, no offense or anything, but like, I don't really know you, you know? So I can't really commit to that because I don't know what it's going to be like. Now, that being said, I am open to collabing, and I've reached out to some people to try and do a little bit more collab content. That is actually something I do want to work on with the channel going forward, is getting more people involved as far as like other content creators and stuff, but I don't want to necessarily commit to anything right now because I'm still sort of figuring out how I want to do it, you know? Anyway, moving on to question 9. Why don't you stream more, and why don't you stream in my time zone? So in case anybody didn't know, I've talked about this more than a few times. I am on the East Coast of the United States. I'm on Eastern Standard Time, so that's my time zone, and again, I have a full-time job, so from 9 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. Eastern, I am not home. I can't be streaming. I can't be doing anything content related, really. And then on top of that, streaming for me really is a just for fun thing. And I know there's a lot of you guys out there that really like the streams, and I'm glad you do. Like, streaming is definitely a lot of fun. I really enjoy interacting with you guys on that more like instantaneous level and getting to sort of play games together and talk about it and joke and all that good stuff. But at the same time, you gotta understand the vast majority of my viewers are video only. And so because of that, I kind of need to focus on the main thing, you know what I mean? Not even from the prospect of ad revenue or money or anything like that. I'm literally just trying to consider the bulk of my audience and create content that will appeal to the most people that I can. That being said, we talked a little earlier about me potentially going full-time with YouTube. In the event that that does happen, there will be more streams 100%. Streaming is something I really do want to incorporate into the channel more. It's just at the moment, I really don't have the time and I need to focus on videos. So that's why the streaming schedule's kind of spotty. I do it where I can. I really wish I could do it more, but right now it's honestly just not reasonable. Question 10. Will you play X, Y, or Z game on the channel? I get all kinds of requests to play stuff like Hollow Knight and different Elden Ring mods. People keep asking for Garden of Eyes and stuff like that. And in all honesty, it really just depends. Viewer interest, how interested I am, how much time I have. I do take some suggestions. Like, for example, I'd never even heard of Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, and I saw a couple people comment about it, ended up looking into it, and now I'm doing a stream series. So I definitely do take suggestions here and there. Feel free to keep commenting them. Like, I'm not saying don't do that, but just understand that if I'm not playing a game that you have asked for or you keep commenting about or whatever, it's not because I like hate you or anything. It's just I have a lot of content already planned out, so my schedule's really tight, and depending on how much I'm interested in the game or how much like other viewers seem to be interested in the game, I may or may not be able to fit it in. Moving right along to question 11. This is one I'm actually surprised I still get. Why don't I play Call of Duty anymore? Now, I know the vast majority of you guys at this point have subscribed well after the Call of Duty days have ended, but believe it or not, at one point in time, this was actually a mostly Call of Duty channel. And there are a fair few people out there who have accused me of quitting Call of Duty for views, because Elden Ring has been a lot more views than Call of Duty used to be. And I used to say in videos all the time when I would do variety and stuff that Call of Duty would always have a place on the channel. I wasn't gonna quit Call of Duty, and that wasn't a lie. I genuinely believed that at the time that I said those things, but really the problem is Call of Duty just stopped being fun. Like, if you go back before the first gigacheez video, and you watch some of those Call of Duty videos, first of all, for most of 2024, I'd already kind of stopped playing Call of Duty anyway. I was playing stuff like Sekiro and Baldur's Gate and Lies of P, stuff like that. But if you go just before that to like some of the earlier Modern Warfare 3 videos, I think you can kind of already tell I'd sort of had enough of the game. And it really does suck too, man, because like Modern Warfare 3, in my opinion, was actually a pretty good game. I really did enjoy it for what it was. But Modern Warfare 2, on the other hand, the game before that, I did not have very much fun with. I actually really didn't like that game at all. And that sort of goes back into me saying I don't want to play games just for views anymore, because back then I was. Because for anybody who doesn't know like the long history of this channel, it took me like 3.5 years to get my first 1,000 subscribers. But then after I did, I went from like 1,000 to 3,000 to 4,000 pretty quickly, and almost all that growth was off the back of Modern Warfare 2. So I kind of felt like I had to keep playing the game, but in with me feeling forced to play the game, but simultaneously not really having fun with it anymore, it kind of just burnt me out on Call of Duty, and it got to the point where I didn't even buy Black Ops 6 this year because I figured what the hell is the point? And to be very clear, if I was still having fun with Call of Duty and like Black Ops 6 was, I don't know, the best Call of Duty they'd ever made, and I downloaded it, I did play the beta by the way, but like I downloaded it and it was just a ton of fun, I couldn't get enough of it, I would absolutely be making videos on that to this day. Regardless of the viewership, I would be making them because it's fun. But I am not going to make videos on a game that I am not having fun playing, and I am certainly not going to be making videos on a game that I'm not having fun playing and I don't really think would get that many views. That's just kind of a waste of my time at that point, you know what I mean? So yeah, that's the long story short of why there's no Call of Duty. It might come back someday. I don't know, Black Ops 7's looking interesting. Maybe I'll play the beta and see how that goes. Who knows, there could be a revival. And rounding things off with question number 12, face reveal when? Face reveal never. Now, I've talked about this on stream before. We've jokingly set 100 million subscribers as the face reveal goal, although I've never really talked about it, so I guess I'll give like sort of a brief answer as to why. So the really long story short is I just don't like editing my face. I've actually tried to do it before. Like, I tried to do a face cam video back on Call of Duty years and years ago, and I just couldn't get through it, man. It's like, sometimes when you talk to other content creators or just people who do stuff with their voice in general, you'll hear them say like, oh, I hate the sound of my voice. I hate editing my voice. I feel like I sound dumb. And like, I've never had that problem. Even way back when I was doing corporate voiceover stuff before YouTube, I never had a problem editing my own voice. I don't know why. I guess maybe on some level it almost feels like I'm editing for somebody else. I don't really know. I've never once had a problem editing my own voice, but my face, on the other hand, is a completely different story. I feel like every freeze frame I'm making some kind of dumbass face, or like my hair's a little off in this frame, now I just want to cut the whole thing. Like, it's just not a good time. I honestly just don't think I'll ever want to do it. And on top of that, just from a practical perspective, to peel back the digital curtain a little bit, I have friends who work in the games industry, and some of these publishers, especially like Activision and stuff, can be more than a little testy when you criticize their games. And my thinking on this, even way back when I first started the channel, was the last thing I would want is somebody's manager to like stumble on one of my videos and see me just talking all this shit about their game, and then somehow have one of my friends get in trouble for it. So yeah, that's the heads and tails of the whole face reveal thing, and I think that about sums up all the questions I had. Or the commonly asked ones anyway. I'm sure other people have asked questions that I haven't gotten to. Like I said, I might do another one of these sometime, so definitely leave your questions down below if you want me to do more of these, or a video like this talking about anything for that matter. Honestly, this is kind of fun. I'd definitely be down to do something like it again. And as always, if you did enjoy this video, definitely make sure you hit that like button, and if you're new or you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, I always appreciate the support. That's about it. I'll see you guys in the next one.